And about 7 months after that, we had Simon.
Oh, that's great.
I'm honored that he's here. I'm honored that you're here. I'm getting goosebumps.
I know,
So-
but see, we promised everybody stories, didn't we?
So that's
On
a
the
great
radio
story.
yesterday, we did.
I want to read more.
Yeah.
We're here for yours, mine, and ours, but your name is not in the credits. Who is?
Who?
Yeah, who are you
Who?
in this movie? Because there's no Morgan listed.
No.
No. So who are you?
In this movie?
In this movie.
In this movie, I'm Suzanne Capito, who was the child actress that I used to be. Back in the day.
And why did you change your name?
Well, let's see. I started out in the business in 1956, doing, Playhouse 90 and Twilight Zone and Rawhide and Gunsmoke and Sea Hunt and all those kind of things. And I had a really successful acting career as a child. And actually, Yours, Mine, and Ours was the last.
Is this hurting your butt? I mean, it's
No.
hurting mine. Oh, wait, I know. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
See? Make yourself comfortable.
Yeah.
I will too. This was actually the last movie that I did as a child actor. And it was very difficult back then because when you made that transition, or tried to make that transition from being a child actor to being an adult actor, it was extremely difficult. Hollywood did not want to see you grow up. And so you pretty much disappeared, got into another line of work, and your career was over. It was very tough on child actors back then. Ron Howard, Kurt Russell, and myself kind of made it through. Ron did it mainly by becoming a director. But it was extremely hard. So when I turned 18 years old, I decided that I didn't have a career anymore. And all the work that I had done really didn't matter to Hollywood at all. So I felt there was really nothing else that I wanted to do in life except to act and perform. And the only way I can do that is reinvent myself. So I reinvented my look, got a new name, moved to New York City, and became a completely different person. Throughout the resume, Michael, nobody knew I had been a child actor ever.
Wow, okay.
And started from scratch in New York City.
Interesting. Okay, so this movie, Yours, Mine, and Ours, my favorite movie. Tell us about the audition. Do you remember the audition
Oh,
at
I
all?
definitely remember the audition. It was at Paramount Studios, and it was late at night. It was about, gosh, the studio had already closed, really. It was 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they wanted me to do a screen test in the Fishbowl. Okay, the Fishbowl is a room over at Paramount where it's kind of like you go and perform. You can't see the people behind the glass, but they can see you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know who was back there auditioning me. They gave me the sides for the older daughter that Jennifer Leake played.
Okay.
That's my audition scene. And when it was all over, it was kind of a dramatic scene, which was odd for a comedy, but there was a dramatic scene in it. And when I came out of the door, my mother was out there, and this door opened, and this person walked out with a kind of like a taxi hat, one of those, I don't know what they are, not beanies, but they're kind of like a taxi driver would wear.
What Paul's wearing, right?
Yeah. Dora.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, kind of like a fedora, exactly. And, this person came out with pants and a jacket and this hat on, and she came over to me, shook my hand, and said, very, very, well, in a low voice, very, very good job. You're very talented. And I looked and I said, oh my gosh, I only knew Lucy from I Love Lucy. And I suddenly realized it was her.
Whoa.
It was her.
So she was watching.
She was behind there with Robert Blumoff and with Mel Shabelson, and she said, not the older daughter, but we're having you in the movie.
Well, and you said at
Yeah.
night.
It was at night.
Because I'm now putting the dots together, is she was probably filming the Lucy show at that time.
Could have been.
And at night, after rehearsal,
Right.
she went on to do the movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so she was watching so that's how you met.
But I was such a culture shock for me because my whole thought of Lucy was Crazy Lucy, Lucy and Desi. And I expected this funny lady, and a lot of red hair, and she had all of her hair up underneath. I guess she did wear wigs in the movie all the time, and it just, I've been in the business for so long already, so I kind of knew the drill, but it really surprised me because she was not what I thought.
Not what you
Yeah.
thought. And so that was my next question. When did you meet Lucy? What about Henry Fonda?
Henry I met on the first day of shooting, and
Hi, Dad.
yeah, basically that was it. We met all the kids that day. We all went for wardrobe fitting separately, and then we all met up, went to school because they had the school teacher on set, and those of us who had to go to school, and then it turned into summertime, so we didn't have to go to school.
Do you remember the first scene that you filmed?
I'm wanting to say it was the scene where Henry comes home and the kids are all in the living room. It's the very beginning of the movie, yeah. And so that was the very first thing we did. But I have such a special place in my heart for Henry. I really do, because he gave me something to carry through my entire career through very, very difficult times.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you call him Mr. Fonda, Hank,
I
Henry?
did. I called him Mr. Fonda.
Mr. Fonda?
Yes,
In those days,
yes.
everybody was
Pretty much, yeah.
Miss Ball, or was she Lucy?
No, she was actually nobody talked to her. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, it was 100% business.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Who has never seen this movie before?
Oh, a few people.
Wow, okay.
Okay.